What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. The WBO, World Boxing Organization, is going to hold an emergency meeting to decide the fate of WBO Junior welterweight champion Teofimo Lopez, aka Mr. Takeover, and WBO 154 pounds junior middleweight champion Jamel Lions Only Charlo. Teofimo Lopez, right after his victory over Josh Taylor to become a multi-division world champion, said that he's through with boxing. He's going to hang up his gloves, and he is retired. Now, they held a ceremony to give Teofimo Lopez his belt, give him his flowers, and give him his credit and his accolades. And 5 days after that, he announced that he is a retired fighter. With all that being said, the junior middleweight belt in the WBO is very, very interesting. What they're going to decide. Are they going to strip Charlo, or are they going to wait till after Charlo takes on Canelo Alvarez in one of the biggest fights, in one of the most historic fights in recent memory? We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. I think they're going to wait till after he takes on Charlo, and they're going to elevate Tim Tszyu to full WBO junior middleweight champion. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they do strip Charlo, and that's going to take a lot of luster off Canelo versus Charlo. Instead of undisputed versus undisputed, we're going to have undisputed versus unified. Now, if they strip Charlo, why the hell are they not going to strip Canelo? Now, I know Canelo status might not be the same as Jamel Charlo's status in the WBO. You know, but look, Canelo moved up to 175 and fought Bivol. The last time he defended all 4 of those belts was against Triple G. But Triple G was coming up from 160. It wasn't like Triple G was the #1 mandatory contender in the WBO. I don't even know who's the #1 contender for Canelo Alvarez's belt in the WBO. I don't even know. I know the WBC is the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. The WBA is the Cuban assassin, David Morrell. In the WBA, the IBF, I don't know. In the WBO, I don't know. And there's probably some guys that ain't going to bring a lot to the table. That's why we don't know these guys' names. I don't know these guys' names. You know, they don't bring a lot to the table. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Very, very interesting to see what comes of this emergency WBO meeting. Will they strip Jamel Charlo? I would say, well, they wouldn't do that because they want to be part of a historic fight, but they still will be part of a historic fight as far as they'll be represented by Canelo's 168-pound WBO super middleweight title. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. It's going to be an interesting fight, though. I'm going to break this fight down in the lead up to this fight, the week of this fight, but it's a very, very interesting fight. Charlo is a guy that likes to bang. He's a guy that likes to go head up with a dude. You know, he's not going to be out there trying to fight off the back foot and stuff like that. He used to do that a little bit up under Ronnie Shields, but ever since he got with Derrick James, he's been a much more phone booth type of fighter. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. With him being the smaller guy, then I'm not saying that Canelo Alvarez is actually a naturally bigger guy, but Canelo Alvarez has been fighting at 168 pounds for several fights. So he's much more used to fighting at that weight. And when you're getting hit by a guy at 168 pounds, it's different. It ain't the same getting hit by a guy at 154 pounds. Those punches are much more harder, much more pop on those punches. And that's going to be the key to this fight, because Canelo Alvarez is going to touch Jamel Charlo. Jamel Charlo ain't no Mayweather where he can move up and wait and fight bigger guys, and his defense is so supreme, he can just outclass guys and make guys miss and get frustrated and basically wave the white flag fighting a guy with the technical skills of a Floyd Mayweather Jr. Jamel Charlo ain't like that. Jamel Charlo is a guy that he's a very, very offensive-minded fighter. Now, he did do a good job in the Castano fight in the rematch, staying off the ropes. He kept that fight in the middle of the ring. he damn sure can't be on the ropes with a guy that's a great body puncher in Canelo Alvarez. So he must establish the jab. Now again, he was much better at jabbing up under Ronnie Shields than he's been up under Derek James. He kind of used that jab as more of a range finder to land his right hand and throw combinations. It ain't nothing that he's looking to basically do it like he was doing up under Ronnie Shields. He was basically, everything he was doing was set up off the jab up under Ronnie Shields. With jab, straight right hand, double up on the jab and stuff like that, and control his opponent with the jab. And everything started and began off the jab. It's not so much up under Derek James. It's going to be very, very interesting as far as the trainer goes, too. You got two trainer of the years going head-to-head in Derek James versus Eddie Reynoso. So it'd be interesting to see the game plan that Derek James implements. I think he's going to have to box a little bit more in this fight. He's got to pick his fight. He's going to definitely have to get his respect, because if he just boxing off the back foot and Canelo Alvarez is going to try to walk through all that, he going to believe that, especially if he's fighting a guy at 154 pounds coming to 168, Canelo-Charlo definitely going to have to get his respect with his power punches. And that remains to be seen if he's able to do that, as Canelo Alvarez has a great chin. He's been hurt one time, basically, throughout his whole career, and that was against Cotto. I ain't talking about Miguel Cotto. I'm talking about Miguel Cotto's brother, Jose Cotto. I think that's his name, Jose Cotto. But basically, it was the only time that Canelo Alvarez actually has been visibly hurt. So we will see what happens, and that was back a long time ago. He's been fighting at 175, 168, 160, and he's been in there with some good punches, and he has not been hurt or visibly hurt at any point in any of those fights. So he has a great chin. Charlo has different power. Charlo say, I'm different. You see, he hit Rosario with a jab to the body, wasn't it? And that boy went down and basically was acting like you thought he was going through a seizure or something, man. That was vicious. You had never seen nothing. You had never seen nothing like that in boxing. I've never seen nothing like that when a dude get hit. Outside of when Roy Jones hit Virgil Hill, but he hit him with a hook, a hard punch. He leaned up into that punch. You know, it wasn't no Charlo was just like a straight jab to the body. He sat, I guess you would say he sat down on the jab, but it was a jab nevertheless. And Rosario was on the ground in extreme pain, basically seeing like a guy that was having a seizure. It was ridiculous. So he got sick power. You see what he did to Castano. Castano is a guy known to have a great chin, and he was able to stop Castano in the rematch. Even in the first fight that was a draw, he hurt Castano multiple times. So he has one of the, when you talk about power punchers, the guys that have what you call the one-hitter quitter, he does have a PhD in the one-hitter quitter. He's right up there with the Gervonta Tank Davises of the world, the Deontay Wilders of the world, as far as he has that different power. You got guys that got power like Canelo Alvarez and Errol Spence Jr. Those guys have power. But you got guys that got that different power where they don't even have to really sit down on their punches to get you up out of it. They can touch you and get you up out of there. Look what Deontay Wilder did to Robert Helenius. He was off the ropes and he hit him with that ankle punch that Muhammad Ali dropped Sonny Liston with. And he dropped Sonny Liston because Sonny Liston never saw the punch coming. But Wilder punch was he just got God-given power, just sick power. And that's what Canelo-Charlo has to a certain extent. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Very, very interesting to see how this whole WBO emergency meeting will play out. Will they strip Canelo-Charlo before his fight with Canelo Alvarez, or will they let Charlo hold on to that belt and after the fight elevate Tim Tszyu to WBO junior middleweight champion? We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, we got some other interesting developments in boxing. Keith, one-time Thurman. Keith, sometime Thurman. Man ain't been fighting the last 4 or 5 years. He probably had like 2 fights, man. It's ridiculous. You guys been a hella inactive. He could have fought in the bubble, but he didn't want to fight in front of no fans, so that cost him opportunity to step inside that square circle to continue. So instead, he continued his streak of inactivity in boxing. Well, he got on the Brian Custer Last Stand podcast and said that his next fight, in all probability, will be against former welterweight champion Yordenis Ugas. That's going to be a good fight. The fight is slated to take place in August, mid to late August or early September. It's all about setting up a venue and setting up a date for that fight to get finalized. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. It's going to be a big fight because both guys at this point in time of their careers cannot take another L. So you're going to get the best version of Keith Thurman, and you're going to get the best version of Yordenis Ugas, and that should be a very, very exciting, fan-friendly type of matchup. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Very, very interesting developments in the sport of boxing. The WBO is threatening to take the strap from Canelo-Charlo, and that will take a lot of luster, a lot of prestige off the matchup involving Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Lyons Only Charlo. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But at the end of the day, it's called prize fighting. I find it kind of hard to believe that the WBO would not want to be just like the WBA, the WBC, and IBF, which will be part of history, undisputed versus undisputed. And if they strip Charlo, they will not be part of it in the same way the WBA, the WBC, and IBF will be part of it, because they'll be represented by both fighters. Both fighters will be coming in representing their belts as champions. In WBO, not so much. They'll be represented in full capacity with Canelo Alvarez, but not with Canelo-Charlo. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.